Next question. What's the deal with gluten? Oh yes, I love gluten questions because I'm going to tell you the truth on what you need to know about gluten. So when it comes to gluten, a couple of different things you have to know. Number one, gluten inherently is not evil. Okay? It is not evil. Inherently, it's not bad for you. Inherently, it is not something that's going to hurt you. And so don't be scared of the big bad gluten because it's not that big of a deal. The only time we should worry about gluten is number one, if you have an actual sensitivity to gluten, or number two, if you have celiac disease. Two completely different entities. Let's talk about that. So celiac disease. This is an actual autoimmune disease in which when your body ingests gluten, it attacks the body, destroying the villi in the small intestine. They're typically like this, cuts them off so they become like this. And whenever you don't have any villi, you can't absorb nutrients. And so you have diarrhea, bloating, you have anemia, low blood count, your vitamins are low. You become very, very, very sick. This is an actual autoimmune disease in which your body attacks itself. And there are two ways for us to diagnose this. One is with a blood test, and one is with taking a look with an endoscopy. In my opinion, you need both of those two tests to help confirm if you have celiac disease. And the issue about celiac disease is that because it's autoimmune, it does lead to long-term problems, blood count being low, loss of vitamins and minerals, and also lymphoma as well. Very different from gluten sensitivity. So gluten sensitivity is completely different. This is not an autoimmune disease. This is not a disease that's going to lead to any long-term complications. This is a problem in which whenever you ingest gluten, you may have symptoms very similar to celiac, diarrhea, bloating, indigestion, but you will not develop anemia. You will not develop vitamin deficiencies, and you will not develop lymphoma. But interesting enough, there was a clinical study in which they took patients who had gluten sensitivity. They actually sparsed out the food that they ate. They give one set of patients actual gluten, and they give the other set of patients foods that are high in FODMAPs. Those patients that actually had gluten, that were gluten sensitive, did better than those patients who actually had FODMAPs who claim to be gluten sensitive. And so instead of saying you are gluten sensitive, what I would suggest for you to do, so you actually may have an intolerance to the foods that are high in FODMAPs. And that's the case, I would recommend you speak to a GI doctor about this, or look at my YouTube videos as well, where I have a lot of videos on things for a FODMAP diet as well.